so the relative change that ET, educational technology, would make be far greater at the bottom of the pyramid than at the top, but we seem to be doing it the other way about. So I came to this conclusion that ET should reach the underprivileged first, not the other way about. It's impossible. I don't know why it's impossible, but even for a moment, if you did assume that it's impossible, I have a quotation from Sir Arthur C. Clarke, the science fiction writer whom I met in Colombo, and he said something which completely solves this problem. He said, a teacher that can be replaced by a machine should be. I'm going to talk about children and self-organization and a set of experiments which sort of led to this idea of what might an alternative education be like. They're called the hole-in-the-wall experiments. Children in groups can self-instruct themselves to use a computer and the internet. But under what circumstances? But let's see, how do the children tackle the English language? I took the experiment out to northeastern India, to a village called Madantusi, where for some reason there was no English teacher. So the children had not learnt English at all. And I built a similar hole in the wall. One big difference in the villages as opposed to the urban slums, there were more girls than boys who came to the kiosk. In the urban slums, the girls tend to stay away. I left the computer there with lots of CDs. I didn't have any internet. And came back 3 months later. So when I came back there, I found these two kids, 8 and 12-year-olds, who were playing a game on the computer. And as soon as they saw me, they said, we need a faster processor and a better mouse. So I was real surprised. But how on earth did they know all this? And they said, well, we picked it up from the CDs. So I said, but how did you understand what's going on over there? So they said, well, you've left this machine which talks only in English, so we had to learn English. So then I measured, and they were using 200 English words with each other, mispronounced but correct usage. Words like exit, stop, file, save, that kind of thing, not only to do with the computer but in their day-to-day conversations. So Madantusi seemed to show that language was not a barrier. In fact, they may be able to teach themselves the language if they really wanted to. What you have actually is, there is one child operating the computer. Surrounding him are usually 3 other children who are advising him on what they should do. If you test them, all 4 will get the same scores in whatever you ask them. Around these 4 are usually a group of about 16 children who are also advising, usually wrongly, about everything that's going on the computer. So what was the conclusion of all these 6 years of work? Was that primary education can happen on its own, or parts of it can happen on its own. It does not have to be imposed from the top downwards. It could perhaps be a self-organizing system. So that was the second bit that I wanted to tell you. The children can self-organize and attain an educational objective. Educational technology should be introduced into remote areas first and other areas later. Values are acquired. Doctrine and dogma are imposed. The two opposing mechanisms. And learning is most likely a self-organizing system. If you put all the 4 together, then it gives, according to me, it gives us a goal, a vision for educational technology. An educational technology and pedagogy that is digital, automatic, fault-tolerant, minimally invasive, connected, and self-organized. As educationists, we've never asked for technology. We keep borrowing it. PowerPoint is supposed to be considered a great educational technology, but it was not meant for education. It was meant for making boardroom presentations. We borrowed it. Video conferencing, the personal computer itself. I think it's time that educationists made their own specs. And I have such a set of specs. This is a brief look at that. And such a set of specs should produce technology to address remoteness, values, and violence. So I thought I'd give it a name. Why don't we call it out-doctrination? And could this be a goal for educational technology in the future? So I want to leave that as a thought with you. Thank you.